sort of structure framework came up for today. Before we get into this, the main idea I want to get across that I think is very often misunderstood with social media is that there's like a new trend or a new thing that needs to be done, a new framework that's going to sort of take it to the next level. And what I've found with myself, with clients, and with other successful people with their online business is that the big success they get at the end of the day is not based on a certain framework that they implemented. Very rarely is a framework going to make or break the success. It's really just the consistent work on your craft, on delivering your message, the feedback loop, all of these things that's going to get you to the next level. Because I think all of those little hacks or new frameworks, they're very appealing because that's going to 10x the business, and it might give you that little win in the short term, but the real wins are going to come from mastering your craft, delivering that masterful craft well, and then the feedback loop, which we'll get into, is basically just if things aren't working, how well can you adjust course? How can you get feedback from people you trust, from the market, which is basically just the Instagram algorithm, whatever platforms, then course correct, and then adjust to what's actually for your business. So, real quick, these first three things, we're really only going to be focusing on number two, which is mastering delivery. I see that as creating content, speaking to the camera, editing, filming, speaking well. Mastering your craft is what you guys are all probably working on your own. We're not going to really cover how to be better a coach or whatever it is, but that's kind of number one. If you try to just deliver a garbage message because you're not a good coach, you're not whatever, then it's not really going to work well. And then the feedback loop, all of us probably have, most of us are part of Uncommon Success, but we also have our own little micro networks at home, people we trust. Using that frequently to get feedback on what you're doing is going to be super, super key. So, real quick, I know we had a conversation yesterday around the fire, kind of getting an idea of what your brand is. If everyone wants to kind of give their 30-second, who are you targeting pitch, and try to get to 30 seconds, it'll be really good.
Okay.
So, yeah. I guess let me simplify, like, basic demographics. Age, gender, married, single, kids, high income, low income, that sort of thing.
Okay, so I guess, so I'm not the mission project or the...
A little bit of that as well, but also more so just like, who is the person at face value? Age, gender, what do they do in life?
Yeah, it seems to be more... The thing is, in person, women seem to gravitate to me quite a bit. Like I've got loads of older women clients, older and middle-aged clients, and they seem to love it. Everything from the training to the breathing to the ice bath, I don't know, it just seems easy. But with the online, and then online it seems to be more guys, 25 to about 40, similar to you.
You're the girl who ideally you want.
Yeah, probably. I think guys between the ages of 25 and 50 maybe. So guys that have kids, about to, or going to have kids, or have had kids for a while. Not necessarily the highest ticket, so average, just above average salary.
Yeah.
Earnings. And what was the other thing?
Single, married, probably married.
Yeah, probably married. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. I think that's like specific enough to roll with the content. Yeah.
Fitness professional, typically 5K subs on Instagram or Twitter, I think. Probably the content hamster wheel, where they're not, they're getting engagement, but it's not going to more clients or sales, etc. Typically, they won't enjoy the sales process. They'll think really lowly of themselves in terms of sales and marketing, and they'll hate doing DMs.
Yeah, that'll probably be a big part of your pillars. Like, you hate doing DMs. I have a solution. Yeah. Cool.
Then
from the 90s, I guess 25 to 45 for myself, just the 90s,
Mm.
age 25 to 45. They could be single, but likely if no, very likely in a relationship, look for something serious, either have kids or towards having kids. They're running a business, don't have that time for themselves. They used to be that athlete, used to have that energy. Something's fallen off track. They want it back, and they want to move above and beyond in terms of their health, their fitness, their wellness.
Yeah.
Men and women, doesn't really matter the age. Mostly people who feel lost and who think they need a change with their life and would like to give a healthier direction to their life. So mostly people who are in a bad shape and probably in a bad mental state as well.
Yeah, okay. I think most of the time I would say pick between male and female, but I think if you can get specific enough with the attributes or variables outside of gender, then it can still work. So you're saying like a kind of lost and peaceful warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just kind of angling that in with the messaging, the pillars, and who you are, or how you present yourself online. I think it can still work.
Okay.
So, yeah. Cool. So with those, if we could kind of go back through and just shout out like 1 or 2 or 3 fears, but then also desires of that avatar. What are they so scared of? Scared of having cancer, whatever. And then what are they desiring? Which very often is the first side of that.
So injuries, there's health in terms of growing muscular and heart attacks and stuff, and longevity, and then desire would be capability. So being able that's where it gets personal, like what is capable to do, being able to do what they want, staying healthy whilst they do it, and then really doing well on that.
Cool.
Fears, fear, probably hate the sales process. They've got no idea how to convey their message in a way that people will resonate and they can build a following, etc.
Might even fear like having engagement but not making money. Like I think we know people that have like 100K plus on Instagram and they're making like $2 grand a month. Like that's, I think that would be a fear. It's like they're growing so much and they're like, I should be making money. Not yet.
It might not be appropriate, but because I'm essentially plant-based, fear judgment on the content, fear that I'm not authority, fear, definitely being judged by others, fear of failing or making enough money, fear of that content falling flat, fear of getting criticized and judged by those who I think are more authority. So just that school just saying that because it was easy for me to answer. Yeah. Right. You as well. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're the same.
Yeah.
Focus.
And then desires are on the flip side of that. They want to not have the stress of money to give them a platform to then, really, because they really want to help people deep down, ICP. And this allows them the headspace to do that. And they have like a repeatable income that really gets them out of the fight or flight sort of state.
It's like consistency.
And it allows them
few layers to this, the fears of my demographic, and it's just like, there's that fear of getting old, being broken, not having the energy, physical body declining, emotional state deteriorating, losing no sense of purpose, right? And they fear that, they fear growing old, being capable, and wasting their youth, wasting their potential. And then there's the fear that is involved in starting the journey, the fear of actually stepping up and being this masculine man, stepping into that role, the fear of being judged doing that, like, and that's created by the world today. Where we actually fear stepping into that role. They desire it, they want to move away from the fears I just mentioned, and move towards this desire of being strong, being masculine, being able to step up, take action, have a sense of purpose, show up every day with excitement and drive, and be able to do the hard thing consistently, and be able to wake up and do what's difficult. Every man wants to do what's difficult. We don't want to do what's easy. We don't want to chase that cheap thrill. Most of us, a lot of men, are starting to see through that. And there's that fear of stepping into that fear of judgment. So there's a few layers to that fear.
Yeah.
To cover the desires in that as well. They want to be capable, want to be able to play in a sport. As they grow old, take on new hobbies, play with their kids, teach their kids new things, be that dad who leads from the front, be that husband, father that can take care of themselves, leader of the community.
A lot of potential, I think. Speaking like history as well, because we're talking about the Spartans and the Romans, and like in your content, I think referring back to them, because I think most men that desire to be masculine, if they just see a picture of a Roman gladiator, they just look at it and go,
Yeah.
you know, like they'll smile and not.
Snippet from Russell Crowe, in Gladiator or something like that.
Yeah.
The movie
Not an
300,
opportunity.
like you were saying, really nice.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
watch that movie, the
300.
300.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
watch that
Break
movie,
on
like,
stuff like that.
Yeah, come on, yeah, very hard.
Yeah, so for the pains, we have, same as other people, we have a lot of fears. Fear of change, fear of like leaving your comfort zone, your habits, what you feel comfortable doing, a lot of anxiety, a lot of addictions to medications, to drugs, to whatever, television, and that's sense of despair, feeling lost, don't really know where to go, what to do, and some people are scared that they will stay like that all the time, and that like there's no way out. And so potential gain would be gaining some clarity, gaining some perspective, being able to build healthier habits and constructive habits, and just feeling braver, feeling more authentic, and kind of leaving that self that is all small and that is doing small things and trying to take more risks and doing more stuff.
Yeah, would that be like risks and stuff in mostly the physical sense, or would you incorporate like some mental?
Whatever.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. If someone is scared of, like, I don't know, yesterday I was writing something about swimming. If someone is scared about swimming, that's something to work on. Like, do you want to stay scared of swimming like your whole life, or do you want to take 1 week, 2 weeks, try to overcome that and then become someone stronger?
Yeah. Dan, we're just covering, I guess for your like sitting client, if that's what you want to roll with for now, like biggest fears and biggest desires of that person.
I think it is a little bit. I think the fears would be some of the that their body would prevent them from developing their careers. it could become a facilitator in terms of like having. I see it more as a step above where you get energy and focus and concentration, but yeah, that's how it can actually enhance your work-life balance. Yeah, but just getting rid of pain, I think that's just a lot of people back pain, neck pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big desire there.
So the piggybacking off of the target audience and like pains and desires, a word that's often used in social media is like, what's your niche? Find a niche, stick in your niche. And I think, well, one, word is overused, and I think it does have some value. Sometimes it's turned into this thing that you can't talk about anything else unless it fits inside of this niche. And the way I want to think about this is, yes, you have a niche. Everyone's going to be mainly talking about one subject matter, but the difference between the reason why someone will hire you and not another person in the same niche is because they know you and they like you. So making sure to still shine through your name, your face, your personality, your interests through the content is really, really key. You don't have to alter who it is you are in order to get people to like you. Like, we can promise that of the 8 billion whatever people in the world, there's going to be an amount that'll like you exactly the way you are. You don't have to alter some sort of online persona to fit something that works for others, because what's going to help you succeed in the longest term possible is just being the entire authentic you. So there is a niche, but you are also the niche. When someone hires any of you guys, they're not thinking, I'm hiring a masculinity coach. I'm hiring Brian. Who is he? He's a coach that does these, but they're hiring you, like your name, your face, your voice, you on this Zoom call, you in person, whatever it is. Touched on this a little bit before, but in case anyone's still on the fence between like a personal brand and more of an impersonal brand, I would highly, highly recommend going with personal when it comes down to almost everything within your social media. So it's going to be your face on the Instagram profile, your name on the name thing, just you in every single piece of content that you put out. I know some people will lean more towards the impersonal side, and it can work, but it's just harder for people to hit that follow button when they're following a logo or a brand name that doesn't really exist in the big world yet. Then I want to shift over to the pillars, and this is kind of going to carry us into the actual content making, which Manuel's going to help with the framing and the lighting and all of that, maybe today or tomorrow as well.
Maybe a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, so before we get into everyone's pillars, I want to kind of define why we want to think in this way and what benefits it gives you, and some examples of people that use it. So this is highly, highly key. If you look at, I keep mentioning Ben Patrick, his pillars for the longest time were the TIBS, backward sled, and ATG split squat. And he talked about those every day for years on end. And an idea I heard, it was some business marketing book I read a couple of years ago, forget the name, but it mentioned that you as a coach, you as a personal brand, are going to become 1,000 times more tired and fatigued of your messaging before even a fraction of a percent of your followers are going to understand your message. And that's extremely, extremely, extremely important. It might be the most important thing to take away from these pillars. You're going to have to say masculinity, you're going to have to say, for Ian, AI, automation, one of these words, you're going to have to say these things hundreds, if not thousands of times, and be okay with that mentally, and understand that the people that follow you, only after the 1,000th time you said it, they might start thinking like, oh yeah, I think Ian does this AI thing or something. Like, you're just going to need to talk about it over and over and over again. That's really key. Like, understand that will help you push through thinking like, well, I've talked about masculinity 10 times this week. I think that's enough. No, it's like you gotta keep going over and over and over again. As an example, like I said, Ben, there's a guy I follow, the British butter. He just makes a bunch of butters all the time.
Ah, yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah,
It's very
like
cool,
yeah, with the spoon thing.
Yeah.
So when I followed him, like I love food stuff. That was like my original passion. And if you put yourself he's talking about butter once, and he's talking about a dog he adopted, and then he's talking about his trip to Costa Rica. It's like, I don't know what this guy's talking about, right? Like his one video is cool, but he hasn't mentioned butter in 2 months. I'm not gonna follow this guy. So that kind of goes in line with the messaging thing. You have to become the person that your ideal follower actually wants to follow. Your ideal follower is going to be men that want to be more masculine. Your ideal follower is someone who has some following and they're only making 500 a month. Like, keep reinforcing, I'm the guy that's going to help you achieve X, Y, Z, over and over and over again. Yeah, Liver King, another example. He's probably an example of someone that became a personality that isn't truly him. I highly doubt that's how he's actually been since he was like a teenager, that personality. And it works, but it's like, is that a route you want to go down? Become someone that you're not and always have this fake persona? Probably not. But it still goes to show that he fully embodied this character. He was that crazy dude with like a 20-pound liver walking through the forest and eating it, whatever. Like, that, it works. So I want to give some examples for Brian of the pillars and how they can be sort of restructured, and then we can get into what all of you guys think the pillars will be for you. And this, again, going back to the feedback loop, this isn't set in stone. If you decide on these 5 and you only stick with one of them long term, that's fine. Pick a few, make some content about it, see what sticks, see what doesn't, make adjustments, and keep refining. So I think most of you guys have heard this already, but the pillar I came up with for Brian is like masculine, strong men. That kind of as a whole, it's a little bit separate from like the movement stuff and a little bit separate from the strength stuff. It's more of an embodiment of a personality or a character. So that right there is a singular pillar. How many ways can we break up that pillar into new pieces of content? And the answer is basically infinite. If you make one post about being a strong masculine man, it's like, cool, what are the next 500? That's one, let's work on the next 500. So some that I wrote down is a man with a weak stance is a weak man. That's one reel right there. Strong men build the future, weak men tear it down. What defines a strong man, a strong modern man? 3 pillars of a strong man, 3 pillars of a weak man. How to become a weak man in 60 seconds, how to become a strong man in 60 seconds. And you can just go on and on and on. It could be like the number 1 mistake modern masculine men make. Or like you could have a picture of Andrew Tate and say like, is this masculine? I don't think so. And then you roll. Right, it's like the same things over and over. Same thing could be said about tibialis raises. Ben has probably made 100 plus of those reels. You can use a bar, you can use a wall, you can use a kettlebell, a dumbbell. You can do it on the beach. You can do it with your baby in the background. You can, you know, like, you can just keep going over and over. So, yeah, we want to go around. It doesn't have to be exactly 3 to 5, but if everyone's got like a couple ideas of, I want to talk for you, it could be ice baths. And what that does is the mind and the body. If that's going to be one of your pillars, you want to commit to like, people are going to get annoyed how much I talk about ice baths. Or I'm going to get annoyed at myself how much I talk about ice baths, and that's fine. So yeah, if everyone wants to share, kind of shifting into more tangible video ideas. What's a pillar? I want to talk about this all day, every day.
That's brilliant though, because I haven't made the same mistake. You mentioned someone said that they made a video about it, so how was that?
Yeah.
I remember doing it, like, I don't think I can content because I've filmed, I don't know, 100 videos.
Yeah.
I've said, but that's brilliant. Do you want me to?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 3 to 5, you just got a couple or whatever.
I think the ice bath is an easy route. I think I need to, with the ice bath specifically, I need to find more creative ways, because for a while I was just like, in an ice bath, either talking, or I'm like, that's pretty fucking boring as content. So like, doing things with the ice, like chatting about the ice, being like, I was dynamic with it would be good, but I could get the ice is an easy one for sure, for the rest of it.
And then real quick with the ice, it's like, that's a pillar, and then from there, like how many hundreds of thousands of ways can it be broken? It's like, I jump in the ice bath to wake me up in the morning, to condition my mind to be disciplined, to recovery, if you want to go that route. Like, there's a bunch of different ways you could have a client there with you. Sandra just jumped in the ice bath with entire brand is built on that. And it's like, yeah, now he's got like sponsorship deals and all this and he's successful, but like, it can also work to just have one pillar and one topic. And never change.
That's a great point. I did a carnival radius said I spot every day is the stupidest thing you can do, so I tagged him every day in a nice spot for like, I think I did for a month and a half. So. And he liked a couple of bursts, but then I like it, Scott Paul. But I think, speaking of like the strong man thing, one thing this resonates with me a lot, maybe I could talk about that as like a character thing, is being reliable to yourself. So keeping small promises so the big promises become easier. People I see all the time, I know we've all seen it where, like, I'm going to do this, or the resolutions thing is another example, where like, I'm going to do this, 2 months later, no more. Whereas like, neuroscientifically, like my fiance will explain it better, but the fact that you're committed to yourself in the small things. I've made a couple of videos about it, but never really expanded on it. So I think that'd be pretty cool to have a pillar. But are you there for yourself? Again, are you there for yourself? Are you there for yourself? Keep showing up for yourself. That's pretty cool. And then probably weights. Something to do with weights. And then the breath. Probably pretty high spread. Realize yourself and then train. Training against your base, but
Yeah, and you can refine it over time.
ooh,
Just
I
like-
do. I like doing stupid shit like grabbing kettlebells with my mouth. Surge squats. I could just do be the gym waiter. Like, I've made a few videos of doing like, and they actually get quite a lot. They get a lot of what is it called? Not traction.
Views.
Yes. Where I post, so I towel the mouth around the kettlebell, do squats, and I'll do so. I did one the other day, like all the stupid moves. And it was, it gets like people laughing or people like, how do you do it, why do you do it? So that could be a good one. Like ice, that, breath, and narrowing it down.
So, yeah, then like, you know, there's, again, like no one framework is perfect. So like you could decide for yourself, I'm gonna only talk about these 4 pillars, all content for the next 90 days. And only at the end of 90 days do you allow yourself to reevaluate, like, okay, these 2, let's add these 2 in. Like, it could be 90 days, it could be 2 weeks, whatever you want, like, commit to it for a period of time, and then allow yourself to readjust.
That's right. I'm just making that something.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
So I did narrow it down. I guess one would be sales without lifting a finger, which would encapsulate automation or like web funnel, where you don't need to actively sell something. And one that I've made a couple of videos recently was communities. So just
Like building communities.
building communities or benefit communities. So
Yeah.
Communities versus newsletters, stuff like that. Maybe stuff like simple things, like consistency, something like that. This is all aimed at fitness professionals wanting to get more sales, more revenue
Yeah.
through the business. Maybe lead magnets.
Yeah.
As a fourth one.
Yeah, I think yours is definitely unique. What was the first one?
So sales without lifting a finger, so automation and
Yeah.
funnels, pretty much.
Yeah. So what would be like the pain? I guess that's like the action, but what's the pain behind that action leading people to do that? Essentially,
So
just not sales.
Yeah, they hate sales. They have to spend hours in the DMs or hours getting people with line.
So like time efficiency could be a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also stress that leads to more productivity in other areas. And also the financial freedom, getting sales without lifting a finger,
Yeah.
etc.
I think you could, we were talking about this earlier, but I think you could really benefit from that sort of not speaking style of videos, where it could be you, I'll try to find you don't really want to go through the entire technical explanation of the reel, because at the end of the day, the fitness
They
professional
don't
doesn't
care,
need
they
to.
want the result.
Yeah.
The
So like,
holiday, not the.
yeah.
I think so. That's a great
That's the
Yeah.
How you know it?
Yeah. Yeah, and one other thing I want to touch on in general, and I think it really applies to you, is there's so many different styles of content. There's just music, no speaking, and like read description. There's a style I'm most used to, like what we filmed today, and Justin, where it's camera speaking to the camera. There's just cool footage with music and no text on screen, and they all work. There's countless examples of plenty of accounts growing while focusing on either just one of those or diversifying all of them. So back to the idea of every technique works, just find what resonates most with you. If you can make 10 reels of this style in 1 week, but only one reel of this style, you might want to lean a little bit more towards that way and, you know, find what works best for you. And then also with the feedback loop, like if you get 10 times the result with a certain style, then you know, go with that style. It's kind of testing it as well. Yeah. Or, yeah, we'll circle back to all these and like, because yours is definitely more difficult for my brain to wrap around as well with the pillars and the content, but yeah.
Awesome. So for me, definitely mindset is a big one, and you know, stoicism has inspired helped me the whole time. You know, there's an extreme side of it, but stoicism, that warrior mindset, discipline, avoiding, you know, the cheap thrills. There is an element of like being positive, optimistic, happy that I really want to share, but does it really fit the vibe? Like it can be sprinkled in there, sure, and it's very important. I just want to say for all of us that I believe that's very important. But what I really want to focus on, what I think a lot of men need, is like just that stoic mindset, that discipline, that non-reactive, even if it's just in the household, holding your emotions, right? Awesome. And then the easy ones, or the very obvious ones, being nutrition, movement, and like biohacking and lifestyle. So with nutrition, you know, it's animal-based. I love to talk about our evolution, biology, why we are thriving, eating more meats, avoiding processed foods, less carbohydrates and sugars, and then avoiding plants and plant toxins are the three. The first being the most important, of course, avoiding processed foods, avoiding excessive carbohydrates, and then sugar consumption, being in the state of ketosis. It's helped me, helped many others. Not everyone thrives that way, and that's cool. And then avoiding plants, I think there's a range for all of them. I gear my content towards what I'm most excited about or learning at the time, and when I'm learning about plant toxins and avoiding plant toxins, I make all my content about that, but that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear the stuff back in the top, how to avoid processed foods, what to avoid there, you know. So nutrition is a whole range, what to avoid, you know, what to eat, evolutionary base. Within movement and physicality, you know, that freedom, that decompression, it's now just a small element of what I do, but it's still very important. The ability to endure, go long, efficient movement patterns, and agility, and then the ability to take contact, that's in there, that's important. Reduce the risk of injury, be capable in real life, spontaneous ability to react. Then there's biohacking and lifestyle, grounding, breathwork, some days in meditation. You know, I think these things are amazingly important. Optimize testosterone levels naturally without using TRT, without using steroids. I love to talk of, or I want to be talking more about, look at how common it is to use TRT, not necessarily at all. Look at these benefits of these natural biohacks and lifestyle practices. And then there's another element here which is quite interesting and unique, and it's this using weapons and this ability with handguns, rifles, and assault rifles, you know, like that. You know, I'll be at the range working with rifles. I want to share a lot about that. Then the fun, archery, spears, you know, and this fluidity of, you know, old ways, the old weapons, spears, archery specifically, and then hunting is a big part of how I grew up. I want to share a bit more about that. Ties in with nutrition, of course, as well. I think there's just an element there that's really fun that I think appeals to every man. I think all of you, like, very excited to talk about that. I'm sure I'll see you in Zambia.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you could encapsulate that in your page, that'd be fucking epic. I'd love it.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that. I think like all of this, although it's different and there's different intensities, I want it all to like capture the same branding and intensity. It's just like, you know, a video of a guy throwing a spear dressed as a, you know, a Spartan, even if it's a clip from the movie. I can still talk about mindset. I can still talk about doing, you know, maybe not nutrition.
Well, actually, yeah. So this,
Yeah.
what I was drawing here is like, and this applies to everyone for sure. But the way you were describing it made me think of it. So you mentioned, I forget what order, but somewhere in here was like the eating meat, avoiding processed food, and then there's the movement, the sun gazing, the grounding. So when you were listing all those, I was like thinking of them here, but then the overarching thing is still your avatar, men being stoic, the mindfulness, all that. So, and I reference this a lot with the very overdone AAldeia Brand video, where I see so many new age coaches making it, and I think there's no problem with making one of those videos. But if you're just making, here's how to do AAldeia, okay, that's 1,000th one that's been made. But if you say, here's why AAldeia videos are the best, or sorry, here's why AAldeia races are the best movement for baseball catchers. Oh, okay, now you're like the first or second person ever to do that video. So with you, there's thousands of people talking about grounding and sun gazing, etc. But if you can tie in an element of masculinity and stoicism, mindfulness with grounding, cooking, walking fluidly, I guess stoicism plays in there. But you incorporating that is what's going to set you apart. Because eating meat, there's 1,000 reasons why you should do it. We've talked about like hormone optimization and all that. So specifically, you're going to talk about eating meat will optimize your testosterone, which can make you a stronger man, et cetera, et cetera. If you were a female coach, you might say something like eating meat will help you regain your cycle that you lost on the meat diet. You wouldn't say that. It doesn't apply. So keeping that in mind across everything. It's not just sun gazing is good for vitamin D and it's good for the gut. I mean, yes, but you're not going to word it that way. It's like sun gazing grounds you in the day. It sets you up to take on the day, to, you know what I mean? Like the words and topics that are going to resonate with a man that wants to be more masculine and more stoic. So keeping that in mind, I think with every single topic, whether it's grounding, cooking meat, shopping for meat, having that, that energy with it.
Thank you.
In my head.
Sweet. That was something else. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the moment, the pillars that I was working on would be meditation, one of the most important. Second one would be a daily practice, mostly a stretching practice or like a moving practice, something slow. Then weekly strength training, where we try to challenge ourselves a little bit more. And the fourth one would be nature, spending time in nature, spending time deconditioning yourself from what the modern world has done and going back to nature. So all the things that you said apply. Even cold plunges, saunas, all these things apply. Grounding, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, some of that stuff that is really simple but that allows us to feel more present and feel better.
So that's an interesting example with two of you mentioning a lot of the same things with maybe sauna or grounding or getting the sun, getting in nature. You guys have relatively different avatars. So even if you both might make a video about grounding and looking at the sun, think of how
he would say it versus how I would say it to who. He would say it maybe for masculine men, this is to develop this.
Yeah.
Because that is like the result that we want to obtain, but I would say something totally different. But talking about the same, instead of saying you want to be strong, it's like stop being weak or something. Stop feeling like shit or something like this maybe. I don't know. Because I think that, for example, his core target audience is someone who's gonna want to go somewhere. They want to be stronger. They want to be faster. They want to be whatever, whatever. In case of my core target audience, I think they want to avoid and to like get away from their current situation.
Yeah, and I think to the second point, mastery and delivery, because you mentioned, like you, or for Brian, like you could make a video saying like, in order to be more masculine, you should ground. And I think that's like an entry level way of how to deliver the message. But as you become more skillful in the craft and the delivery of the message, you will get better at using like emotion and vocabulary to describe your avatar, rather than saying, if you want to be more masculine, this is what you should do. But like eventually you won't have to say directly, to be more masculine, you should do this. Simply by where you filmed, how you speak, what words you use, it'll clearly be towards the masculine end. Like yeah, and that's just something that'll develop over time. In the early days, you might just have to say, if you want to be a more masculine man, and that's fine. But eventually, you won't have to be so almost bland or blunt.
Yeah, it would be your body is part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking some office exercises. Yeah, like exercises can be done anywhere with anything. Micro breaks, like in between work, and even like stress reduction techniques. Yeah, like your breath, even posture awareness, how you sit behind the desk, stuff like that. Yeah, that would be the pillars, I think. Maybe, probably include nutrition as well. It's crucial for work and like optimizing your blood sugar levels, and that will translate into just more stable energy and concentration. Yeah. So I think combining those three, like my business name is Eat, Move, Improve, and that's still like the three pillars adjusted towards this outcome.
Yeah, I think those pillars have probably have the most clear, like I don't want to say easy to execute, but clear to execute process to do the reels. Because like the micro breaks, there's literally 1,000 variations of like a micro break you can demonstrate, like stretching the lats, going outside, looking at the horizon. There's so much potential there. And then with the, you mentioned nutrition as well. Back to this idea, like you have the maybe going outside, nutrition, micro breaks, exercises you can do at your desk, but centering it all around the office worker that doesn't want to feel more pain. So then the way nutrition would center with that would be, you're not going to show people how to grill a steak for the nutrition, it just doesn't make sense, but you can show people like, here's how to, worst case scenario, get a nutritious meal at your local sub shop, sandwich shop, or how to meal prep, like everything. The nutrition for your avatar is going to center around what makes sense for a office worker. Just keep it all centered. But I think the micro breaks have huge potential for content, because there's literally thousands of ways to take a micro break.
And people need, yeah.
Sweet. So we were thinking for the rest of the day, for the next maybe hour or two, we could do some practice filming. More so you guys just using the skills you have right now, and we can kind of walk around and help give a little guidance here and there. But we more just want to see what you're able to do now with the skills you have, and then maybe with the pillars that we've discussed, and then that'll give us a better idea of where you need most help when it comes to actually doing the delivery, setting up the camera, speaking, potentially editing as well on the phone, and all those sort of things. So, yeah, we can help each other out with the filming as well, rather than everyone just soloing with the tripod. That we can film for each other, give each other feedback, and then just sticking to the pillars, I think will be really good. And, yeah.
Just want to say one thing. I won't film because it's cheating. But if you want someone to film it, you have to put the tripod on in place.
Okay.
So I want to film you. So I go into your place. I go to your place. You go behind and you set up the tripod. So,
So
there's
that's
no,
been there.
Yeah.
so there's no influence on the other person to. Okay, so you can really see what your eyes see.
Yeah, also another thing I use for essentially that idea, but if you don't have a friend, you're truly filming by yourself, a shoe or a pebble or a stick, like I just throw the stick into the frame and then I adjust the camera so the stick's in the middle of the frame,
Okay.
and then I know to just stand where the stick landed, I'll be in the middle. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah,
It's a
try
nice
not to try to influence the least you can by others, so you can really see. Because what's going to happen is you're probably going to be filming by yourself, or with someone that doesn't really know, maybe a partner or someone you know. So let's try to be as honest as we can to get the footage, so that we can start working on details and lights and whatever we need to work on. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Love it. Here's actually a reel that Brian and I did earlier to give you an idea of what it could look like. And like this took 3 to 5 minutes all in, like start of the idea to the finish. And it took, and then the editing took me 10 minutes. So it's definitely possible to, yeah.
Straight beat, you're ready to move and go. You got the toes out, you walk the press, you're not ready to move or do anything. If you've got a good stance, you're ready to cut and turn. Poor stance, you're going to be clumsy. In a good stance, you're even ready to take contact and fall, get up and down from the ground. Poor stance is going to leave you injured, hurt, and clumsy. To develop a strong stance, you can work on keeping your front foot straight, reaching back into your hips, and having your head aligned over your foot. Merely holding this static position, reaching back into your glutes and breathing deep into the belly can help refine and develop your efficient movement patterns, your stance, and your posture. Love it.
Oh, Steve. That's very nice. So, I think, I didn't really touch on it too much, we'll talk about it in the coming days, but if you can just get the opening line for the hook, whatever you want to call it, if you nail that, most people that are confident in their craft and their coaching ability, you just nail the hook, you'll be able to flow after that. Okay, what was the movement you found?
Your posture says.
Your stance, your posture tells us so much about your readiness, your physicality, and that. If you're
This was That's really cool, and I know what it would look like if I did that myself. But that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have done something? No.
What do you think of like the background? He's obviously got a great.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing great, but the weather's also great. The background's also great. Do you reckon?
To be honest, I thought nothing of the map. I thought it would have been that bad.
It was the first thing I looked at.
Backer?
Yeah.
So there, you mean?
Yeah. So we can start by just having a look. So this is like, this is okay. This is like a tub, a garbage tub.
but I think before you got to criticizing it, what I meant was like, it actually looks great.
No,
But when we were filming it, I was like, oh, we just chose this like, right? Like you chose it, you were seeing it. It was like, oh, don't I need to put some props in the background, make it well, or like do something? But I thought it was great enough just being outside.
Yeah, and this is great as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's it.
And I'll show you what it looks like without the color grading.
Would you use those?
Cabinet, so that's without any color grading.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Realize about the background. I mean, there were the captions, you were moving, the light was on, and
And it could have, like, it honestly could have been a lot.
a good stance, you're ready. A poor stance is going to work on it. Strong stance, you can work. You can work on keeping your front foot straight, reaching back.
So like, little things there.
Yeah, there's a little bit. That was powerful. Yeah, that's okay. Whoa, that's really cool. What was the original music? There was a music?
Yeah, it was, Nightmares on Wax.
Your stance and your posture tell us so much about your willingness and physicality of that. If you're in a good
So I
stance,
was like syncing up the voice rock beat with. Cool. Roll some, best probability.
Anyone needs a microphone?
I probably need a microphone.
Okay, I have a microphone.
Have one.
And then, yeah.
Have one.
Microphone. And you have one? Yeah, microphone.
George, I've got a mic first and the tripod, so do you want to pair up?
Oh, right,
Is your tripod just on the right?
No, mine's sort of there.
There's a tripod.
This one is from.
Oh, yeah,